So yeah, I guess back to Vietnam. Like Vietnam, my life has been repeating just like that video game. Like I still have bad relationships. I learned that from my mom. I still forget things that I probably should have wrote down. In Texas, we have a saying. You probably have it here in Saigon. In Texas, we have a saying. It's "You fool me once, shame on you. You fool me once, you can't fool me again." But sometimes it happens, guys. That's President George W. Bush. He's a dumbass. He said that on live TV. And he wasn't even in Texas. He was in Tennessee. So he's a fucking idiot. And my life, my dating life seems to just be repeating. Like I can't comprehend the signs. Like I can comprehend the signs. I know that girl right there who can suck a mean dick is gonna break my heart. I also know that good girl that wants to marry me, there's no way I could be good enough for that girl. So, like the last date that I went on, it was right after COVID, and I went on a date with this girl, and the first very clear warning sign, red flag, I should have observed, I missed. Our first date was on 9/11. November 9. The day that most of the world remembers as 9/11. But as Americans, we'll never forget. And the date was going pretty good. I instantly fell in love whenever she arrived on time. And I was like, this is going well, you know? I told some jokes, she laughed, was feeling good. And I made a joke. I said, hey, you should invite some friends. She laughed. And then she did. Very strange when 2 dudes showed up. I was thinking, hey, maybe they could help me move my couch, Because what's hotter than 3 dudes? 1 couch. I mean, maybe moving it in the rainy season, talk about hot, guys. Wow. 3 dudes, 1 couch. So at the end of the night, I paid for the drinks because that's the type of dude that I am. That's the type of dudes that she dates. Broke, gullible, wearing pants. The 2 dudes had disappeared, and I was left to give the tip, guys. I gave the tip real good. You guys are supposed to laugh. This is the cue. So I gave the tip really good. She's like, hey, can I come home with you because my building has a curfew? Red flag. Okay, I guess you can come home with me because your building has a curfew. And we're leaving the bar, and I see a tattoo on her right shoulder. It's a black widow spider. She tells me the black widow female spider will eat the male after sex. Good idea, Jeremy. Let's get some soup. So we finally get to my house. We're getting out of the taxi, and she looks up. She says, hey, your building has a rooftop. Red flag, Jeremy. Every building has a rooftop. She says, hey, can we go up there? And I said, well, the door has an alarm. We can't go up there because I don't know the alarm. She's like, oh, don't worry about it. My ex was a firefighter. I can get that door open for us. Red flag, guys. She's dated before. Big trouble. We get to the rooftop, and she's like, can we have sex up here? And I was like, not on the first date, no. But after a little, rubbing my hair and whispering sweet things, don't fucking say a goddamn word about my hair. She said some sweet things to me, and I'm an English teacher. Your kids are learning from me. I'm sorry. So she convinced me to break my first date rule. The rule states, no sex on the rooftop of your building with the girl who has a curfew in her building that did not buy you free shots at the bar. I broke that rule for her. So we're on the rooftop. We're having sex, guys. Not hugs this time. We're having sex. Like she's hanging like over the balcony. And she's like, oh, wait. I forgot to tell you guys about my grandma. My nana. Real funny, guys. Laugh at a guy who can't pronounce grandma. That's real fucking funny. Real funny. My grandma, she recently retired. For the longest time, my grandma worked for the government, and she told us that she was a secret agent. Her job was classified. She couldn't talk about it. But after retirement, we learned that my grandma, the secret agent, was actually my grandma, the secret agent janitor. She just cleaned up stuff. And like her health started declining, so she moved in with my mom. And, like my mom was noticing money was missing out of her bank account. And the checks were being cashed in Vietnam. What I had to tell my mom was, my grandma asked me my birthday. She says, when's your birthday? I said, the 5th, Grandma. And every month on the 5th, I got a birthday card with $5 check. We learned that my grandma had dementia. And I didn't really have the heart to tell my mom that she forgot to sign some of those checks. So my mom took care of my grandma. I went home 4 years ago, and my grandma doesn't remember a lot of things, so she doesn't remember not smoking weed. And I got my grandma to smoke weed with me for the first time. She was 74 years old. She never smoked weed before. I got her so high, guys, she forgot she had dementia. It was amazing. Oh, shit, guys. We left that girl hanging on the side of the building. Talk about a cliffhanger, right? So, I'm going to town. This is how I do it. I just want to get it for the camera. My mom's going to watch this. So, we're having sex, and she's like, oh, yeah. I know this girl from somewhere. I can't put my finger on it, but I know this girl. I know this girl from somewhere. I'll explain later. So, we're having sex. She lets out a little moan. She's like, oh, give me that power thrust, stepdaddy. Red flag, guys. Red flag. I'm 39 at this point. There's no power thrust. Not at all. And we finished. I finished like a man. 12 seconds later. And it was 4 a.m. And apparently her curfew was over because now she could go home. So many red flags in that date. So many. There's the dudes, the curfew, the tattoos, building rooftops. I can continue. So many red flags. It was like a Vietnamese Independence Day. Just. I gave her 1 gold star because the sex, With that dumpster fire of fate in the rearview mirror, I turned 40. And my dad calls me on my birthday. He says, feeling 25. Fuck you, dude. Fuck you. Fuck off. A really good friend of mine, he bought me a birthday cake. And I was like, this is really sweet. This is nice, my friend. I opened the birthday cake. It's shaped like a penis. What the fuck? We laughed. It was fucking hilarious. It's still cake. I'm going to eat it. I cut 2 pieces, one for me, one for my friend. I went to the refrigerator to get 2 glasses of milk. But in the back of my head, I could hear my dad, you choked that penis cake down like a man. Like a man. After 40, I started feeling older. I noticed I wake up at 6 a.m. every morning to go to the bathroom. And I call these the wee hours. If you're British, maybe that's funny in more ways than one. I started to notice, again, I was feeling older. I lost my sex drive. So if you guys see a sex drive laying on the floor, it's probably mine. Wash your hands after touching it. Thing is disgusting. Lost my sex drive. I'm down to a floppy disk. I cried. After some thinking, I was like, you know, Jeremy, you've had like a lot of sex. Like a lot of sex. A lot of unprotected sex. And, you know, after thinking about all the sex that I had, I come to the conclusion, I need to masturbate. After a little masturbating, I come to terms with my expected direction in life, my ED, right? I felt good because I made it to 40 without having a kid. Ring, ring, ring. Red flags girl. She wants to get coffee. How about you just come over and stay the night? She said, no, coffee. Sounds like someone has a kid. That's great. That's really good. I met her. I met the kid. I'm a dad, deadbeat dad, but, you know, dad. And I meet the kid. His name's Bryan. Bryan sounds like a name that you would give to another man's kid, you know, like a guy named Bryan, maybe, you know. A Skeeter or a Vic, but not a fucking Jeremy. I'm not going to name my kid Bryan. Yeah. So, Bryan, he's a good kid. He sounds like that 6th grade science experiment where you did little work and you still got an A. That's Bryan. And I don't know, why didn't she name the kid like Jeremy or Jeremy 2 or Jeremy also? You know, Jeremy's a strong name throughout history given to men with big brains and or big penises. And in my mind, it's very clear that Brian's got the brains, guys, and I'm just a big dick. Lucky for me, she spelled Brian's name with a Y, so it's Brwhyan. Yeah, it's a little less confusing. I can spell Bryan with a Y, but I can't spell brain without thinking about it. And Brian's a smart kid, guys. Like, he's almost 2 years old. He's already scored a 5.0 on his IELTS exam. 5.0, he's pretty smart. He's taken some of his white privilege and he started a business. 2 years old, guys. 2 years old, really smart kid. And, yeah, I don't know about Bryan. We're hanging out. We're doing good, you know. And by this point in my set, you might be thinking to yourself, wow, his story is repeating itself. DNA tests, they seem to run in our family. There's me, there's my brother, there's my little cousin Jeremy. Not mine. So they run in our family. And my family, we live in Louisiana. And down in the South, in the deep South in Louisiana, we believe the theory of relativity is just trying to explain your family tree. And I don't think you guys get the gravity of this joke. But I guess we made it to the end. So I'll leave you guys with this last little tidbit. My family, we say history repeats itself because it's a lot easier than saying, I fucked up. Thank you, guys. My name's Jeremy. You guys have been great.
Give it up for Jeremy Bryan one more time, baby. Yeah. Yeah. Look at that. It's like a mad scientist. Gonna drink another beer. Do another hour, drink another beer.